the garden, shadows grow, memories of long ago. Was it real or just a dream? Last night when I heard you scream, the trees stood still on Winter Hill. Candy, can you tell me what you saw last night? It was so bright. Candy, can you tell me if you went inside? We were so frightened by the cries from the sky. In the morning shadows grow on the roads of Jericho. I feel the burning on my face, memory I have no trace. The trees stood still on Winter Hill. Candy, can you tell me what you saw last night? It was so bright. Candy, can you tell me if you went inside? We were so frightened by the cries from the sky. Have you seen the skies? Open up your eyes. They've always been inside. Open up your mind. Open up your mind. Candy, can you tell me what you saw last night? It was so bright. Candy, can you tell me if you went inside? We were so frightened by the cries. Candy, can you tell me what you saw last night? It was so bright. Candy, can you tell me if you went inside? We were so frightened by the cries from the sky. Candy can, the candy can, candy can, candy can, candy can, the candy can, the candy can, candy Hello, welcome to Guitar Trek. I am Richard J. Dowling, and every week I upload an original song, and this week it's Candy Can. And I'm feeling quite happy because I've been having a lot of difficulties with my voice recently. I'm doing a lot of teaching, and I teach English as a second language, and I'm doing a lot of, well, not necessarily Skype, but Zoom, Gmail, Meet, all the video conferencing software. And I've been finding it's been really difficult, really hard on my voice. And I wasn't looking forward to doing this particular song because I felt as though my voice was just, giving up. But using the technique that I mentioned in my previous video, in Hey Pistolero, I think it was, or maybe even before that. Anyway, the sort of making sure that this muscle here is engaged just below the rib cage. And it was really, really pleasant. In fact, singing is much easier than speaking. In fact, maybe I should incorporate singing into my classes. I felt really, really comfortable singing, and my voice seemed more naturally in pitch. it was one. I think I did the one take. Mind you, I might go back now and listen to it and decide I have to do another take. But at the time of recording this video, I just did the first take and it seemed to come out okay. And I don't want to risk another take unless when I listen to it and I decide, oh, maybe it wasn't that good. Nevertheless, I'm pretty chuffed because I like this song in particular because it's what I like doing are pop songs. And I guess if you've been watching these programs, you know my sort of tastes. But things like Echo and the Bunnymen, the Monkees, U2, I really like U2. More of their 80s stuff, some of the 90s stuff. Simple Minds, they're a big influence. And this sort of, I mean, it's somewhere along that line of influences, I guess. And it's a fun song to play on the guitar. So it came about. I was playing. If you play if you play a power chord, which is just the root of the note and the fifth, and the octave, which is the same note as the root but higher. If you play it up on the fifth string, so you've got the E, so then you can play the open E string. And what I'm doing is the top two strings here, I hope you can see on this, but the top two strings are open, which is the E and the B. So it's a nice drone. They're all it's basically E and B the whole way through the fretboard. Then I went down to the B, keeping the power chord and keeping the open strings ringing. Then which is sort of an A, but because you've got the B there, it's suggesting a sort of A suspended second chord, and then back to the E. So that was a fun little chord riff to play. I mean, as a guitarist, I actually learned bass guitar first of all because I thought it'd be easier, and in a certain sense it is. You're playing one note at a time, but then I switched to acoustic guitar. I started really writing songs when I was 24. I taught myself, simple guitar and things before that. But 24, I was working at a job in advertising. It was very stressful, and I just got it into my head. I wanted to write songs. I always loved music, so I went into a guitar shop and said I'd like to buy an acoustic guitar, and they seemed quite offended by the fact that. He literally said, "What you just come off the street and you want to buy a guitar?" I said, "Yes." And I've never really been happy in guitar shops. I think I don't know what it is, but obviously everybody working in a guitar shop is a guitar virtuoso, and at least when you're a beginner guitarist, you get the impression that everyone's laughing at you. So I'm very reluctant to try out guitars in a guitar shop. But anyway, I said, He said, "Can you play?" And I said, "No. I could, but I didn't really want to play in front of people. It was performance anxiety." So then I said, "Would you mind, just recommending me a good guitar?" And he picked up a Yamaha. In fact, it's this very guitar I've got here now. He picked up a couple of Yamahas, and he played. There were two different versions, and he played one, and he played another one, and the other one. I couldn't tell a difference, but he said, "Oh wow, actually, this one's a really good one." So I bought it. And I don't know, 30 years later, here I am. So, that's a lesson, I guess. Don't be put off by guitar shops. In general, to be honest, they're really friendly. It's more a case of my own fears and anxieties rather than people working in guitar shops. But feel free to tell me about your experiences. Anyway, the point is, so I had a nice guitar riff. I like strumming. I'm sort of like Lou Reed. I love all that Ian McCulloch does as well. These nice sort of I love strumming the guitar, which is another reason why I like simple major and minor chords, because they go very well with strumming. You can get good strumming out of other chords, but in general that's my taste. So came up with a melody. Na 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 na. And the most difficult thing with songwriting for me is the transitions. So, you can get a good idea for a verse. And this is sort of starts off on the E. So for the chorus, I was just muddling around and came up with na 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 da 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 na na da da da, and that sort of swooping around bit of the melody is my favourite part of the song. Later on, when I came to write the lyrics, I mean, the idea of the song is it's this woman who's experienced, with her friends, has experienced some sort of unexplained phenomenon, it's like a UFO sighting, and possible close encounter of the third kind. And the melody seems to suggest this sort of swooping object. For me, I mean, this is completely just, there's no reason why you would listen to the song and think this, but me writing it, it sort of suggests this swooping object in the sky. So then, but to get from the verse to the chorus, I needed another section. So I thought, well, I'm on the E, so I can just drop down to the D, keeping the open strings ringing. So then, just going from the D to the E somehow raised the expectation of the E, because you've got the D and the E, it sort of shifts. So before, the E sound was the root of the song. Then when you've got the D major and the E major, or an implied D major and E major, then it sort of suggests A is the root. So then when you go into the chorus, you get this satisfying feeling of, oh, we're coming home, but it's a different home. And I guess musically that relates to the lyrics in the sense of the nature of these things, that you feel unsettled. And in fact, the lyrics of "The Tree Stood Still," I wanted to give this impression of, if you've ever had a strange, well, you don't need to have had a strange paranormal experience, but often you have these strange sensations in everyday life where, it feels like suddenly everything's stopped, or time has slowed down. And that's what I wanted to suggest. The tree stood still on Winter Hill. It's just this sort of moment of strange calm before there is before a UFO comes out of the sky. I mean, it sounds as if this is normal. Well, I guess it is normal. I don't know. I've been reading a lot lately about unexplained phenomenon, and it's always been one interest of mine. I mean, it's I mean, obviously, the universe is very big, lots of planets and stars. So I think that it would be very unlikely that we are the only life form in the entire universe. So there is probably intelligent life elsewhere in the galaxy. Now, the UFO phenomenon that we have here on the Earth, I don't think is as a result of aliens visiting in spacecraft and abducting people for the purposes of, probing them and things. There's just too many cases. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense if they wanted to be found. They could come out openly, and if they don't want to be found, there's probably no way with our technology we would be able to know their existence. So there's something else happening in this UFO phenomenon, and I can recommend a really interesting writer called Jacques Vallée, who's written on the subject a lot, and his theory is that the UFO abductions UFO encounters came of age in the 20th century, but if you go back in history, that people were having the same experiences but attributing them to different factors like elves or fairies or the gods. And so his idea is that there is some kind of consciousness that's trying to communicate with us. Now, it could be, you could take it as the collective unconsciousness of humanity itself. I mean, read the books, because there's a lot of food for thought there. But in the song, I'm just sort of, giving a description of, of a general description of what's happening, but without going into any details. I mean, it's sort of, we're kept on the outside of what actually Candy saw. And the candy, I mean, it was when I was just coming up with the chords, I was just singing candy can, candy can, and candy can. I just thought that sounds like a nice line, candy can, and then it just sort of built up around that. I sort of wrote the chorus half unconsciously, and then once it sort of like, tell me what you saw last night, it was so right, and that really triggered the connection with the UFO things that I've been reading about recently. And then the rest of the song came out pretty easily, but it was very difficult getting back from the chorus to the verse. So eventually stumbled on the G chord, which was not. I just didn't know why it sounded good, but we go to the G, to the D, then to the A, and it sort of allows you to go back to the E, but without thinking that the E is the fifth chord of the A somehow. I'm sure there's somebody with a much better knowledge of music grammar who could explain why it works, but I think it works quite well, and I'm very happy with it. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know your thoughts. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing and commenting. It really makes it worthwhile. You know, I love writing songs and composing songs, but the only reason to share them on the internet is for people to listen and to hopefully enjoy them. So much appreciated, everybody, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.